We have been very busy this winter working on a bunch of projects to get the boat all squared away for the summer. We might not have finished everything on our list, but that's okay. The big goal this year is a 140-mile adventure to Beaver Island, and we want to make sure the boat is ready for anything. So today's all about taking her out for a spin, seeing how everything works, and making sure she's in tip-top shape for a big journey. But first, we need to go back to the start. Now it's wintertime, and one of the things that we want to make sure we get done this winter is we really need oh, there's some deer. We just scared them. See them? We want to make sure we get a trailer because we need one at to keep our boat at Windjammers, and we just need like a yard trailer.
So we picked this thing up last summer. I think it's a pretty well built trailer, and we just got to get a cradle on top of it now. That's the biggest thing. We're gonna weld it all up with the bunkers, the pads, but we're hoping to find a cradle it'll fit on this, and then we'll be done.
Yeah. So now we have the trailer, but we need a cradle, and we actually might have found one. Mark made a bunch of phone calls this summer to all the marinas around looking for a cradle and nothing. So we figured we had two choices. We could either get a cradle or we could get jack stands and have the jack stands welded. Is that a bald eagle?
Looks like it. But this was for a 27-foot boat, they said, and the guy sold the boat, didn't want the cradle, I guess, so I just want to see if it's gonna get close enough to work for us.
So we're measuring it. Oh, a nut fell off.
Yeah, need some new wood up here for sure.
Okay.
Minor.
Here, do that again, just so we remember.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
This was what was it, 5.5. Okay.
All right, now we gotta go measure the boat. I was a kingfisher. Welcome to our nature show. We saw deer, a bald eagle, and a kingfisher. Well, let's just say that cradle idea didn't quite work out. We decided to scrap that plan and go with something a little more custom, welded stands. Thankfully, a friend of ours is a total lifesaver. They not only had some spare stands laying around, but they even offered to weld them on the trailer in the spring. Talk about a hero. But before we get to installing those fancy new stands, we got to take care of some repairs on the Bilge. Alright, so we knew the fiberglass had some cracks, and honestly we were hoping for a quick fix. You know, just patch up the fiberglass and call it a day. Easy peasy, right? Wrong. We drilled a couple holes to see what was going on under there with the wood supports, and let me tell you, big mistake thinking everything was fine. Turns out the wood was more rotten than we thought. There's no way around it, folks. We gotta cut those 3 supports out completely and start fresh with some new wood. And of course, we'll fiberglass them in nice and strong after that. But first, we have a lot of grinding to do.
Kind of snotty.
They're all out.
It's a pain in the ass.
Well, we're not done, but getting tired of wearing the mask. Look at this. It's like yeah. Just got to kind of clean it all up now and rough up the areas on each side of and where we're going to glass it. It looks pretty good though. Well, it looks like a little bit of chaos down here, but actually we did pretty well today. We only did one side so far. We filled in the corners with thickened epoxy. I'm gonna let that set up now for an hour or so, because then we're gonna go ahead and mix up more epoxy and put it in the voids, so we can fill them voids in, make a good bond. I wanna do that tonight yet before the area we wet out actually cures 100%. A lot of the epoxy dripped down the sides and landed down in the keel, but I think that's going to be okay. We'll just grind out where we need to for the keel bolts. Call her good. Man, what a project.
Mark and George glassed in all of the supports, but then Mark had to grind down the top edges. He cleaned and roughed up everything so we could finish glassing the top edges. What a dusty mess we made. If you ever did any fiberglass work like this in your boat, I'm sure you can relate. After we got most everything cleaned up inside, Mark put a few coats of bilge paint on to finish it up. But we weren't done yet. Last year we noticed the bilge pump wasn't working that great, so we decided to replace that too.
Could barely see ya.
Oh, I'm in here. Last connection for the pump. You know, the other pump here, this hose here had a little screen on it. Little wire screen. Wonder if we shouldn't find something like that. Yeah, something that can be underwater all the time. There it is.
Look
Done.
at that bilge. It's all done. Good job.
Should we put some water in it?
Oh, it's so pretty right now.
It's gonna have water in it anyway. Might as well fill her up and see if it pumps out.
All right, let's do it.
Come on when it's ready. Float sticks up. Gonna sit around the handboard. Well, it sure seems like it was just not that long ago we had to cover this boat up. And here we are on a beautiful day here in May, and we're taking the cover off. First step of getting closer to getting it in the water.
The new cover was perfect. It kept the boat perfectly dry and was easy enough to put on and take off. Now that the cover is off and the bilge project is done, we can finish up other projects on the list, like getting the sails on, figuring out why the furler sticks, and cleaning the hull and top side. As soon as the weather was warm enough, I managed to squeeze in a few hours here and there between the rain and after work to buff and polish. It took me forever. We also did a few little things like replacing the anode and head pump assembly, and the head sail needed some much needed repairs. Since the cradle idea didn't pan out for the trailer, we decided to have the stands welded. A good friend of ours welded them on for us, and while he was doing that, I replaced all the carpeting on the stands with new weather-resistant carpet. Thank you so much, Tom, for helping us get that trailer done. The last thing on our to-do list is to make sure the engine starts.
Yeah, we're just gonna run it for a bit, make sure everything fires up and looks good for Friday. Make sure enough water's coming out, just get some of it back.
For some reason, I kept thinking the engine wasn't going to start. But after a few tries it did, and we were on track for Friday. I was very surprised to see this bridge close. I didn't know that they ever closed it. I thought it was just always open. There it goes. This is the nervous part. The boatyard let us drop the boat onto our trailer to double check to make sure all of the stands were perfect for when we take the boat out.
Yeah, these will be good, won't they? When the strap is out of the way. Went up one notch? Yeah, I went up one notch.
All of them worked great except the ones in the middle. So we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting for when the boat comes out.
19 inches. All right.
Coming up in temperature, and I say the water's coming up in temperature, and the battery's charging. So actually, everything's looking good that way.
Hopefully nothing's leaking down below.
I did check before we left the dock, but yeah, it hurt to. I mean, the bilge wasn't leaking. The holes we drilled through are patched good. The other thing with boats in day is that I got clean up a little bit. That's what I did last year when the boat went in, quit shaving, and then shaved her off this morning. Feels good, I have to say.
We are just getting into our sailing groove, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And as always, hope to see you out there.